Yukon Striker is a large-scale Bolliger and Mabillard dive coaster at Canada's Wonderland. It anchors the park's Frontier Canada section and is the world's tallest, fastest, and longest dive coaster. It opened in 2019 and stands 223 feet or about 68 meters tall, has over 3,600 feet or 1,100 meters of track, reaches a top speed of 81 miles per hour or 130 kilometers per hour, and has 4 inversions. This coaster is awesome, packed with some strong positive G-forces and a little bit of airtime. This is our full-length, in-depth review of Yukon Striker and our comments about what you can expect when you go to Canada's Wonderland to ride this coaster. Now, let's get into the review. Yukon Striker is located in the Frontier Canada section of Canada's Wonderland, essentially right behind Wonder Mountain. It replaced the park's Togo stand-up roller coaster Skyrider, which closed in 2014. When you enter Frontier Canada, Yukon Striker is front and center, and you can get so many different vantage points of this coaster. Whether you are walking to it from Action Zone, Planet Snoopy, or International Street, you can walk directly alongside and underneath its burnt orange colored track. And it is impressive how the park fit this coaster in the plot of land. It towers above the park's Shoot the Chutes water ride, Timberwolf Falls, and its first drop passes right over Vortex as it goes through an underwater tunnel. When you approach the ride, you will see some incredible theming, including a large water tower, basins, and minecarts. Yukon Striker is themed to the famed Klondike Gold Rush in the untamed wilderness of the Klondike region in northwestern Canada. But most of the prospectors making the perilous journey will fail given the region's extreme seasons and the brutal climb up into the coastal mountain range. As you make your way through the queue, you see some more theming elements, including crates with the words Yukon Territory Striker Mining Company stamped on the sides. You walk alongside the station, underneath part of the ride's track before the lift hill, and up some stairs into the station. When you reach the station, you will see some more theming, though this theming is lighter than the theming throughout the queue. You will also see one of Yukon Striker's three-row 24-passenger trains. These trains are floorless and have Bolliger and Mabillard's new vest restraints, like the ones you can find on newer dive coasters. Like those newer dive coasters, Yukon Striker's vest restraints have some give to them, which will definitely factor into the ride experience. Once you have boarded your train, secured your vest restraints, and cleared dispatch, the station gates will open, the floor will retract, and you take a slight dip out of the station into a rightward turn towards the lift hill to begin your ride. As you reach the top of the lift hill, you take a right-hand 90-degree turn towards the coaster's holding brake. As you slowly creep onto the holding brake, you start leaning forward, and if you are sitting in the first and second rows, those vest restraints will give a little, allowing you to lean even further. That give in the restraints adds to the first drop. After a few seconds hold, the holding brake releases and you plummet down Yukon Striker's 245-foot or 74.7 meter 90-degree first drop and into an underwater tunnel. You then pull up into the ride's first inversion, a massive Immelman loop. Out of that Immelman, you fly into a zero-G winder, which turns towards the right. You then go into a vertical loop, which pulls some strong G-forces, followed by another Immelman, which pulls some more positive G-forces. As you come out of that Immelman, you climb up into the ride's mid-course brake run. As you go through this mid-course, you experience a very noticeable shake. You then dive off of the mid-course and fly over an airtime hill, which definitely delivers a good pop of strong floater airtime. Off that airtime hill, you enter a left-hand helix, followed by a climb up into the final brake run, thus completing your ride. Yukon Striker is an incredible dive coaster. The first half is relentless. You experience so many positive G-forces throughout the ride, especially during the vertical loop and the pull-out of the second Immelman. You might actually gray out for a moment. The fact that the coaster tops out at 81 miles per hour or 130 kilometers per hour definitely contributes to the positive G-forces. The second half is not nearly as good as the first half, though you do get some noticeable airtime coming off of the mid-course brake run and going over that airtime hill. The helix at the end is also a good finale for the ride. While Yukon Striker's three-row trains do not vary the ride experience too much, the best row is definitely the front row. That sight of the 245-foot or 74.7 meter first drop is amazing, and the give on the vest restraints definitely enhances that first drop. The vest restraints might limit your airtime a little bit more than that which you can find on earlier dive coasters like Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, but you still experience great airtime as you go down the first drop. If you cannot secure a front row ride, a second row ride is just as good, since you will still have an experience similar to the one you will get in the front row. Yukon Striker also has great theming for a Cedar Fair park. The ride does a great job taking inspiration from a pivotal moment of Canadian history in the Klondike Gold Rush. The Yukon Territory Striker Mining Company queue works perfectly in the Frontier Canada section of Canada's Wonderland. Aside from the ride experience in the queue, Yukon Striker has 4 separate lines within the queue. Fast lane, a line for the front row, a line for the second and third rows, and a single rider line. These multiple lines streamline operations, though where the lines converge in front of the station can get a little hectic. And because of Canada's Wonderland's large crowds, the single rider line is necessary, especially if you want to secure multiple rides on Yukon Striker during your visit. A wait in the single rider line is much shorter than waiting in the regular standby queue, which can definitely get packed. Yukon Striker also has an interesting storage bin system. Instead of regular bins on the platform, Canada's Wonderland employed a moving, almost conveyor belt-like system for Yukon Striker. Right before you queue for the next train, you will put your belongings in the next available bin, which will move along the conveyor belt in tandem with your ride. Once you get off the ride, you exit and wait for about 1 to 2 minutes for the bin containing your belongings to return and line up in the exit section of the station. It is actually a really cool system. Just make sure that any souvenir cups you have are empty. Finally, Yukon Striker's operations are quite good, which definitely keeps lines moving as quickly as possible. Overall, Yukon Striker is a great fit for Canada's Wonderland. It is not only a great dive coaster, it is a great coaster, period. Its mix of inversions and positive G-forces makes Yukon Striker a much more complete ride experience than other dive coasters. For a final score, we give Yukon Striker a 9 out of 10. This coaster is fun and has some intense moments. It also looks great in the Canada's Wonderland skyline. So, let us know in the comments below if you have ridden Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland, and if so, what you think about it. And if you enjoyed this video or are new to the channel, please like and subscribe for more coaster content like this. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more coaster reviews and amusement park content from Coaster Adventures, and we hope to see you in the next one.